So do you also use Google Forms to collect your client feedbacks? Then this video is definitely for you. So hello all, welcome back to Pabbly Connect, and in this video we are going to understand how to build an AI agent to auto-analyze Google Forms client satisfaction. So over here I'm Customer Experience Manager of a retail chain store, and I use Google Forms to collect my client feedbacks, and now I want to analyze them regularly. But this is such a tedious and a time-consuming task to do it manually, right? So to solve this problem, I've simply created this automation where what is going to happen is that as soon as I receive a client feedback through Google Forms, automatically my AI agent, which is OpenAI, is going to analyze the client satisfaction, and then further I can add that client satisfaction summary into my Google Sheets. So to do this, we are simply going to create a connection between Google Forms, my AI agent, which is OpenAI, and then Google Sheets. And to create this connection without knowing any programming or coding language, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. It is an amazing automation software. So do you also want to create this automation for your business? Then for that you have to come with me towards my screen. Welcome to my screen. So in this video, I'll show you how to build an AI agent that automatically reads and analyzes responses from your Google Forms, especially useful for client satisfaction. So instead of going through each response manually, the AI will give you a smart summary highlighting some common feedbacks and also give suggestions of improvement. This saves you a lot of time and helps you to understand your clients better. So let's set this up step by step, and to do this I've simply opened the landing page of Pabbly by searching pabbly.com/connect/INR in my browser. And now after opening the landing page of Pabbly Connect, over here we are going to get two options. One is sign in and the another one is sign up for free. So if you are a new user, you can click on this sign up for free and you're going to get 100 of tasks free every month to explore the application. But over here, I'm an existing user, so I'm simply going to click on this sign in. And as soon as we're going to click on this sign in, it is opening all Pabbly apps. And over here, you can see all the tools and applications offered by Pabbly. But in today's video, we are going to use Pabbly Connect because we are connecting different applications. So I'm simply going to click on this access now right over here to access my Pabbly Connect account. And as soon as we're going to click on this access now, it is opening my dashboard. And to start with this automation, we simply have to click on this button which says create workflow. And now it is asking me for the workflow name and the folder I want to save the workflow in. So over here I want to save the workflow in this folder which says automations, and I want to name my workflow as this, which says how to build an AI agent to auto-analyze Google Forms client satisfaction. And then we are simply going to click on this button right over here which says create. And as soon as we're going to click on this create right over here, it is opening the most important window of our automation, which is our workflow window. So this is the most important window because we have trigger and action in this. Trigger and actions are the two main principles on which our workflow is going to run. Trigger means when this happens and action means do this. So by this you can understand that the actions are response towards the commands given by our trigger, and that's the particular reason that we can have only a single trigger but multiple actions following the commands of a trigger in a particular workflow. And to get started, I'm simply going to select my trigger application. So for my trigger application, I'm just going to select it as Google Forms. So I'm just going to search for Google Forms right over here, and as you can see the same. So I'm simply going to select it because I'm just going to collect the client feedback with the help of this Google form. Alright. So after searching for this application, I'm just going to select it, and now for the trigger event, I'm just going to select it as new response received. And now it is giving me a webhook URL, and over here, I'm just going to use this same webhook URL in order to create a connection between my Google Forms and my Pabbly Connect's workflow. So what we're going to do is, I'm just simply going to copy this webhook URL, and then we're simply going to follow this help text, and it is saying log into your Google Forms account on which if you want to take a submission, make the last question as the required for the trigger. Alright, so we have to keep in mind that the last question should be required in order to trigger this flow. Alright, so as you can see that already the last question is required right over here in my form. You have to keep in mind that this is a really crucial step. Alright, next it is saying navigate to the response tab and click on create spreadsheet icon to generate a new sheet to store the form responses. Alright, so first I'm just going to go towards this responses tab, and over here we're going to get the option of link to sheets. So I'm simply going to click on this, and now I'm just going to create a new spreadsheet with this name. So I'm just going to click on this create right over here, and as soon as we're going to click on this create right over here you can see that with this we have successfully created this spreadsheet where our form responses would be stored. And now what we're going to do is we are going to create a connection between this Google Forms and Pabbly Connect's workflow with the help of this spreadsheet only. And to do this, we have to go towards this extensions, add-ons, and then towards this get add-ons. And after coming over here towards this get add-ons, we're going to look for an extension which is Pabbly Connect Webbooks. So I'm just going to search for Pabbly Connect Webbooks right over here. And as you can see the same, so we are simply going to select it. And now over here you can see that I've already installed this extension. So it is giving me the option of uninstall. But if you haven't installed this, you're going to get the option of install right over here, and you can install this extension right from here only. And after installing this extension, you have to refresh your spreadsheet. It is a really important step to refresh your spreadsheet. Alright, so now after refreshing this, we have to go towards this extensions, and as you can see, Pabbly Connect Webbooks will appear right over here. So you have to go towards this Pabbly Connect Webbooks and then towards this initial setup. And after coming over here towards this initial setup, it is asking me for the webbook URL and the trigger column. So over here we are simply going to paste the URL which we copied from our workflow. So over here it is asking me for the trigger column. So you must be wondering what is trigger column. So the trigger column is the final data column on which if the data is added, the whole of that row will be sent towards the webbook URL which is towards my workflow. So over here for me the trigger column is J, and this was the particular reason why we made the last question as the required one. Alright, so now I'm just going to click on this submit right over here, and as soon as we're going to click on this submit, it is saying setup configured successfully. So with this we have successfully created a connection between our Google Forms and our Pabbly Connect's workflow. But now it is saying waiting for a webbook response, and in the notes it is saying do a test submission / record. So in order to capture this webbook response, we have to do a test submission or record. But before doing this test submission, I'm just going to open my spreadsheet, and from here we have to go towards this extensions, Pabbly Connect Webbooks, and over here you can see the button of send on event. So we are simply going to switch on this button right from here. So it is a really important step to switch on this send on event button right from here, because now what will happen is that as soon as a new response is added right over here in my spreadsheet, automatically the details of the same would be sent towards my webbook URL. Alright, so now after switching on this button, now we are going to do the test submission. So I'm just going to open my Google form, and we're going to go towards this preview form, and I'm just going to do the test submission. Alright, so I'm just going to enter my name right over here, which is demo user. So I'm just going to enter demo, and then we're going to enter user. We are going to move forward. I'm just going to enter the email address, which is demouser@pabblytunes.com. It is saying store location visited, so I'm just going to select the store location which I visited, which is Mumbai. And now it is saying how satisfied were you with the product. So let's say that I am fully satisfied with the product, so I'm just going to give it 5. It is saying rating of experience, so let's say I'm just going to keep it as 4. It is saying what did you like about our visit, so I'm just going to enter the same, which is the staff was very polite and helpful, and the store was clean and well organized. I also found the product range to be impressive. Now it is saying would you like to be contacted for the further feedback, so I'm just going to keep it as yes. It is saying what can we improve, so I'm just going to enter the same, which is improve the billing speed during the peak hours. And now it is saying would you recommend our store, so I'm just going to keep it as yes. And I'm simply going to click on this submit to submit this form, and as you can see that I've successfully submitted this form. And as soon as we're going to do the test submission, automatically Google Forms will send the details of a test submission to our workflow. So I'm just going to open my workflow, and yes, over here you can see that Pabbly has captured the response for the same. You can see all all the details which we entered have been captured right over here. You can see the name, you can see the email, and the rest of the details too. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our trigger step, and now as soon as we're going to receive a response from our Google Forms, automatically this workflow is going to get triggered. Alright, so now what I want is I want to build an AI agent to auto analyze Google Forms client satisfaction. So for my action application, I'm just going to select it as my AI agent, which is OpenAI. So I'm just going to search for OpenAI, and as you can see the same, so we are simply going to select it. And now for the action event, I'm just going to select it as ChatGPT and click on this button right over here which says connect. Now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your OpenAI account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now it is asking me for the token. And to get this token, it is saying kindly visit your OpenAI API key page to get the API key. Alright, so to go towards this OpenAI API key page, over as in hyperlink. So I'm simply going to click on this hyperlink given right over here. And as soon as we're going to click on this hyperlink, it is opening my OpenAI API key page. And now what we're going to do is I'm just going to create a new secret key. For that, I'm just going to click on this create new secret key. And now it is asking me for the name. So let's say that I'm just going to name this key as feedback right over here. And after naming this key, I'm just going to select the project and click on this create secret key. And over here, my secret key has been created. So I'm simply going to copy this secret key and click on this done. And I'm simply going to paste that secret key right over here in my workflow. And now after entering this API key, I'm simply going to click on this button right over here which says save. And yes, with this we have successfully connected our OpenAI account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is asking me to select the AI model. So I'm just going to select my AI model as GPT-4. You can select it according to your preferences. And now it is asking me for the prompt. So I'm just going to enter my prompt right over here. So now I'm just going to enter my prompt as this. Analyze the following feedback submitted by a customer after visiting one of our retail stores. Generate a short summary highlighting these points. Over here you can see there's a guidelines, and over here you can see the feedback. So you can see that I've left spaces in front of this feedback because I'm just going to enter my customer feedback right over here. But we are not going to enter it manually, but instead we're going to map it. So you must be wondering what is mapping. So mapping is a method by Pabbly which means inserting the data from the previous step. And as you know, our previous step was the trigger step where we selected Google Forms as our trigger application. So we are simply going to map the details from the response of our trigger application only. And as soon as we're going to map these details, automatically my details will turn dynamic and change with every new response received. Alright, so first I'm just going to simply map the name. I'm just going to look for a name in the previous response and we are going to map the name. So as you can see that I'm just going to search for a name and map the name which is demo user. Now I'm just going to map the email address. So I'm just going to look for email in the previous response and map it. We're going to move forward. I'm just going to map the store location right over here, which was Mumbai. And now it is saying for the product satisfaction. So I'm just going to map the same. And now for the experience rating. So I'm just going to map the experience rating. We're going to move forward. It is saying what they liked. So they filled in what they liked. So here you can see what they liked was the staff was very polite. Now we're going to move forward and it is asking me for the suggestions of improve. So we are going to map it. And now it is saying would recommend. So I'm just going to map the recommendations too. I'm just going to search for it in the previous response and map it. And after mapping all of these details, I'm simply going to click on this save and send test request. And as soon as we're going to click on this save and send test request, it has successfully given me the response. And it has given me the response as the customer demo user was overall satisfied with a visiting our store in Mumbai location, giving a top rating of 5 for product satisfaction and high rating for 4. The customer demo user was overall satisfied visiting our Mumbai store, giving a top rating of 5 for product satisfaction and high rating of 4 for the overall experience. They appreciated the polite and helpful staff, cleanliness of the store and its impressive product range. The customer suggested improving the billing speed during during the peak hours as an area of improvement. The customer would recommend the store to others. So over here you can see that I have received a summary of the client feedback. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our action step, which is getting the client summary or the satisfaction level. Now we're going to move forward. Now I'm just going to add the same into my Google spreadsheet. For that, I'm just going to add another action step, and now for my action application, I'm just going to select it as Google Sheets. So I'm just going to search for it, and we're simply going to select it. And now for the action event, I'm simply going to select it as update cell value. So I'm just going to search for it and select it. And now we are simply going to click on this connect, and now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your Google Sheets account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me. Click on add a new connection, and now we are simply going to click on this blue button which says sign in with Google. And now over here it is suggesting me 3 email addresses. So I'm just going to select the email address with the help of which I want to connect my Google spreadsheet account. So I'm just going to select my email address right over here, and now Pabbly is asking me for some permissions. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to click on this allow and give Pabbly all the permissions it is asking for. Because my data is secure with Pabbly, you can also click on this allow. Pabbly is safe. And as soon as we're going to click on this allow, yes, with this we have successfully connected our Google spreadsheet with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is asking me to select these spreadsheets. Over here you can see the name of my spreadsheet is service feedback for retail chain store responses. So I'm just going to select the same right over here. We're going to move forward. It is saying sheet to select the sheet. Now here you can see that I have only a single sheet in my spreadsheet, so we have selected the same. And now it is asking me for the range of the sheet that needs to be updated. So here what I want is I want to add the summary of the client satisfaction in the same spreadsheet where I have received the response of my client. So I want to add the satisfaction summary right over here in this K column after the response. If you wish, you can definitely use another spreadsheet too, so you have to select the same right over here. But over here, I'm just going to add it in the same, which is K2 right over here. I want to update the cell value, which is K2. I want to add the satisfaction summary right over here. So to do this, I'm just going to enter the range right over here, which is K2. But we can't enter it manually because this is going to change with every new response received, right? Because what will happen is that now it is K2. Next, it would be K3, 4, 5, 6. So it is going to change. The row is going to change. But you can notice that the column will remain static. So that's why I'm just going to map the row index, but the column would be entered manually only, which is K. So that this remains same, only the row should change. So I'm just going to map the row index, which is 2 right over here. Now we're going to move forward. It is asking me for the value. So we are simply going to map the value right over here, which is the message content received from our OpenAI. And after doing all of this, we are simply going to click on this button right over here, which says save and send test request. And as soon as we're going to do the same, yes, you can see that we have received a positive response that we've successfully added this client summary into our Google spreadsheet. So I'm just going to put my Google Sheets right from here, and we're going to check for the client satisfaction summary added right over here. So I'm just going to open my spreadsheet first, and I'm just going to look for the column in which I added the client satisfaction summary. And over here you can see the summary has been added right over here too. That too without any manual efforts, the AI generated summary has been added. Now with this we have successfully completed our workflow. But now I'll just test this workflow in real time, and this time I'm going to give you a real-time example. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to open my Google Forms once again, and once again we are going to do the test submission. For that, what we're going to do is I'm just going to click on this preview form button given right over here, and I'm just going to enter the name. Let's say that this time I'm just going to enter the name as test user right over here. We're going to move forward. For the email, I'm just going to keep it as test user55@pabblytudes.com. For the store location, I'm just going to keep it as Delhi. It is saying how satisfied were you with the product. Let's say that I'm just going to keep it as 1. It is saying rating of the experience. I'm just going to keep it as 2. It is saying what did you like about your visit. I will write it as nothing because I'm going to submit this review as a bad one. Okay. Now it is saying would you like to be contacted for the further feedback. I'm just going to keep it as no. And now it is saying what can we improve. So I'm just going to enter enter the same right over here. So as you can see that I've successfully entered this, which is train your staff better to assess the customers. Also check the availability of the stock, which was very poor. Checkout took way too long. We're going to move forward. It is saying, would you recommend our store? I'm just going to keep it as no and click on this submit. So yes, with this we have successfully submitted this form, and now what has happened is that as soon as I submitted this form, automatically Google Form has sent the details of a test submission to our workflow. Pabbly captured the response, triggered the workflow. Our AI agent generated the client satisfaction summary, and further that summary is going to be added right over here. And yes, over here you can see that it has been successfully added. It is saying the customer test user who visited our Delhi location expressed a significant dissatisfaction with the rating of 1 for the product satisfaction and overall 2 for the overall experience. They did not list anything positive of their visit. The individual gave the feedback considering improvement in the staff training, customer assistance, as well as improved stock availability for more efficient checkout process. They indicated that they won't recommend the store to others. So here you can see automatically the client satisfaction summary has been added right over here without any manual efforts. As soon as I submitted the form, the summary has been added right over here. So yes, our workflow is running in real time, and with this we have successfully completed our workflow and this video too. So now go try the same workflow for your own business with the help of same logic. And now if you have any questions related to the video or the workflow, you can directly comment on this video. And for your reference, I'll just clone this workflow and share the workflow link in the description box so that you can access my workflow. I hope this video was helpful for you. Go try it out yourself. Thank you for watching, everyone. So not only these applications, but with the help of Pabbly Connect, you can integrate many more applications. So if you have any doubts, you can reach us at support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can reach us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can follow this website. And if you find our videos helpful, do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.